got an XW Falcon here in for some power steering. Now normally on an XW the power steering unit would be a Ram style power steering unit. Ram style power steering unit, if anyone knows, they're very vague because they use a valving system to get the steering to steer left and right, and because it has that valve it has a little bit of slop in the steering. With the power steering box you don't have that, so you've just got steering like, say, a modern day car. Now this is obviously all original sort of underneath, other than as you can see up through here we've made all the lines out of hardline. The reason why I do it out of hardline mainly because there's less chance of leaking and there's less chance, as an example, it's right next to the extractors, so you've got to run two hoses down beside the extractors. There's a chance that a hose can move or distort in shape under pressure and touch the extractors, and then you've got a monumental fire. So when you've got stainless steel line and it's well away from the extractors, it's never going to be a problem. So at the end of the day, running the lines in stainless, it is a lot harder. It's easy to do it when there's not an engine in the car like this has, but at least it's safer. It takes a bit longer, but it's a better job.
Now, what motor's in this Ford?
I think it's a 302. I haven't actually looked, but I think it's a 302 Cleveland, so it's the wider engine block. But we've got a Cleveland pump on it. The original pulley that he supplied me was too large and it was touching the transmission lines, so we opted for a smaller pulley, and this smaller pulley gives us about 5 mil clearance, which isn't a lot, but it's not on the side where it's going to be too much of an issue. So as anyone that knows these cars, clearance is really tight. Like, everything is tight. The extractors are tight, everything's tight. Getting the plugs in and out is tight, but it is what it is when you've got a Cleveland in a car that was designed for a 6-cylinder. Right, to get this steering box in, it's a big job. It's not a little job, it's a big job. If you get this job done, be prepared for days of work, right? So basically, to get the right hand side, because you need the right hand side extractors out to remove the steering box. Either that or you've got to pull all the braking system out to pull the steering box out from the top, which is a lot of work. So
we're talking, if you go from the top, you need to remove your booster, master.
Yep, everything.
And get the box out from the top.
Yep.
And probably still have to unbolt the extractors anyway.
Possibly. Yes. Yeah.
Because we didn't do it that way, we came from underneath.
Yeah, so I opted to remove the extractors. I thought I'd be able to just remove the right hand side extractors, but I soon realised you actually can't get the right hand side extractors unless you've got the left hand side extractors off. So we unbolted the left hand side extractors off, unbolted the right hand side extractors off, and then we lifted the engine up. I obviously undid the engine mounts, lifted the engine up, slid the engine across to the passenger side, and that allowed us enough to force and squeeze to get the extractors out. It was still a hard job getting the extractors out, but once we got these extractors out, the steering box was fairly easy to remove. So now you remove the old steering box, you fit the new steering box, but before you fit the new steering box you need to take measurements of how much of the steering column hangs out past the firewall, because when you see how close the rag joint is to the firewall, it's very tight. So you need to modify the steering column. You need to cut the steering column down. Now they're a collapsible column already. Now I could just collapse the whole thing and just hit it with a big hammer and collapse the whole thing, but the problem is with doing that is you're going to lose the amount that it can collapse in the future. So what I do is I remove the steering column, disassemble it, cut the piece off the tube that I need to remove, cut the inner tube off if it's a column shift car, because that has to come off as well. So, and also then the shaft has to be pulled apart. So it's a double D shaft. You pull the shaft apart, cut the amount of inches that you need to remove to get it to where this steering box sits, place it all together. Yeah, it's a big job, and then put it all together and then sit it in there in situ and make a little box to go around the rag joint, because the rag joint is partially inside the car.
So you need to protect that and cover it correctly so that the rag joint isn't in the car.
Well,
you've made a cover for it.
You have to make a cover for the rag joint, obviously, because it sits a little bit closer to the firewall now. Well, it actually sits right on the firewall. There is a risk of it rubbing on the plate, the original plate that goes at the base of the steering column. So you have to modify that and make a little tube to come up from that, and then weld your clamp brace onto it to stabilise the bottom of the column. It's a big job. This is probably a lot harder than doing it on a Valiant. So, but the end result is super smooth steering and way better to drive.
So there's no bump steer either, because it's not a rack and pinion.
That's right. Yeah. So a lot of people go, "Oh yeah, I'll put a rack and pinion in it," but you got to have all your angles have to be 100% perfect for rack and pinion. Like these do bump steer. That's inevitable. It's how they are. It's the way they're designed. They do bump steer. Most cars do. So as the car comes up, it toes in. Like as you can, well, I don't think you can really see it at the moment, but the car is towing in a lot. So when you, as an example, if you ever watch drag racing and they lift the front wheels off the ground and then they land back on the ground, you'll see the wheels quiver like this. That's because they're changing from toe in to toe out as they're going up and down. So, and it makes the wheels quiver when they hit the ground.
Having a modern power steering box in the Ford as opposed to the rack and pinion, it's going to lessen the bump steer, because rack and pinion gives you bump steer as well if your angles aren't 100%.
Rack and pinion steering, I've fitted a few rack and pinions to these. Is it better? No. The problem is with the rack and pinion, they've still got that little bit of vagueness right in the middle, and I don't really like it. And the geometry angles coming out of the firewall to get to that coupler where it goes into the rack and pinion, they're quite severe angles, and you're right on the limit of it starting to bind. So, to me, would I do it on a Falcon? No, because all it takes is for you to hit a decent enough bump, and that rack to twist on its axis a little bit, and then you've got locked up steering, and you're in big trouble. This, you'll never ever have that. This is a proper cast steering box with all brand new sector shaft made to fit the original pip and arm. Is it a lot more work? Yeah, it's a lot more work, but it's way better. It's way better.
Fitting rack and pinion into a car like this, how much work is involved as opposed to fitting the power steering box now?
Well, if to do that, to fit a rack and pinion in, you still have to remove the steering box. So same.
So for those who want to attempt to do this at home, I mean, we're in a workshop, so we've got all of the right equipment. We've got engine lift equipment, all of that sort of jazz.
Yeah.
So we can lift the engine in the engine bay. Would you suggest, in order to make it a little bit easier on them, that they take the transmission out?
Yeah, it would be probably a little bit easier if the transmission was removed, right? So it's a lot to remove. You got to remove the transmission. You still can't get the extractors out. You have to remove the transmission if you don't want to remove the right hand side. But I looked at the right hand side. I looked at the left hand side extractors. Left hand side extractors had blown gaskets anyway, so I figured it's a no-brainer. We're going to have to replace the gaskets anyway, so why not pull both sides off anyway? So
yeah. So, but with the transmission out, it gives you just that little bit more swinging room.
Oh yeah,
to get those extractors in and out, and a bit more room to work on your power steering.
Yeah.
Box removal and replacement. Now, obviously, you've had to fit the power steering pump. This one does not have an electric pump.
This guy's gone traditional power steering pump. The traditional pump is a 13 series belt. So we've had to make sure all the pulleys were to suit a 13 series belt. So that goes from pump, harmonic balancer, water pump. And then the alternator just runs its own belt, which is 11A series. So, and that runs from the harmonic balancer to the alternator, and that's it.
So there was a little bit of bracketry and pump fitment in the front of the motor as well.
Yeah. Well, fortunately enough, the bracketry on this pump fitted straight up, and it lined up with the pulleys perfectly. So I didn't have to modify and make everything fit like you do with most cars. So a lot of the time, especially with Fords, there's 160 pulley variations. That was what I was told from Matt at Eagles, 160 variations in pulleys, which makes it very, very complicated. But fortunately enough, the client, he bought his own pump and pulleys and stuff like that, and obviously he has an idea of what he needs, and he got it right. So it made it a lot easier.
Other than the base pulley.
Other than the base pulley, but he wasn't to know that the base pulley was an issue, and he wouldn't have known until he took the other pulley off and went to sit it there, and then he would have realised that it's not right. Yeah. Modern steering box made by Pro Steer Down Under, made in Australia, not made in China. All the parts are good quality parts. I use all these steering boxes in my own cars, not a problem. I do recommend their steering products. If you've got an Australian car, they make them for Holdens, they make them for early Holdens, sorry. They make them for Fords and early Fords. It's just a...
Chrysler, of course.
And they do it for Chrysler as well, yes.
Yeah.
So it's a saginaw pump, but with the original style Ford bracketry. The pulleys are original pulleys, factory pulleys that he sourced from Cleveland Spares. And the steering box was from Pro Steer Down Under.
So all that's left is a wheel alignment, and we'll take it for a test drive.
Yes, that'll be good.
Well, that is totally different. There was no grunting or groaning.
So just got to beware as you go around corners, obviously, because it's going to behave a little bit different around corners.
Yep.
Because there's not as many turns anymore.
Only one way to find out. Much lighter.
It feels good, doesn't it?
Very good.
Yeah.
And the more, it just feels so light but firm.
It feels light, but you have. That's the unusual feeling about it, because it does. It feels firm, doesn't it? It feels firm. Like, but at the same time light.
It responds. Yeah, it responds straight away.
Yeah, that's the hard part to describe it to people. You go, the steering is firm but light. It's that's the only really real way you can really describe it. Really. The thing is, see, I fitted a lot of racks to these, right?
Yep.
And the problem is with the rack is how you're feeling it now. Yep. Like you can't feel any slop in the middle.
No, not at all.
Where with the racks, there's always that little, probably 20 mil of movement left and right of
there's
nothing.
A little...
Yeah. There's a big hump here in the road. A big hump. Yep, you found it.
That is so much better.
Yeah.
So much better. It just glides across when you change the lanes. You're not wrestling it.
Yeah, you're not tugging hard on the steering wheel. Yeah, it's a good road, isn't it? So, going down South Gippy. But when you're driving at speed like this and you steer, do a bit of a steer, you'll feel it's very direct.
That's why there's no thing.
Yeah.
More direct, going in and out of the corner.
Yeah.
It's an amazing improvement. Just the difference.
Yeah.
Like even like you said,
feel the steering wheel when you grab it. You can feel that it just feels direct. It's not notchy.
Like an XY, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Straight. But as you're driving, you've just got a little bit of play.
Constantly correcting. Yeah. Because that's the way the Ram power steering system works. It has a little check valve, and that check valve can't be set tight. Otherwise, the power steering doesn't work. So it needs to be able to have a little bit of slop in it to activate the Ram.
Okay.
So, and that's why they always have that little bit of a loose feel in the middle.
If you like this video, don't forget to click like and leave a comment. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe and click the notification bell. If you like the t-shirts that you see the crew wearing, there's a link in the description below where you can grab some for yourself. Thanks for watching.